What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing an interview with Alan Maxson, who plays King Ghidorah's right head in Godzilla King of the Monsters. I'm so excited right now. Oh man, I'm actually recording this after we did the interview, but I'm hyped up, man. So I'm sorry to inform you guys, but he won't be on screen during this interview. I couldn't get that to work, but I'll edit this so it's not just you guys staring at my dumb face the whole time. I've had such a good time. I'm very appreciative of him for giving me this opportunity. Hello?
Hey, Derek. Thanks for reaching out. I appreciate you wanting to chat with me. I think it's super cool. I'm honored.
I appreciate you being willing to do it.
Yeah, no problem. So you're a pretty big Godzilla fan then, huh?
Oh yeah. Do you have any experience with the genre, with the character?
With Ghidorah?
With with Ghidorah, or I was just thinking Godzilla in general.
Oh yeah. I guess a background in it, as in this is my first time as an actor in a Godzilla film. But like most people, I've grown up watching Godzilla. Um, my favorite memory, I guess, of being a kid with Godzilla would have been my brother and I had a VHS of Godzilla versus Megalon, and we watched the shit out of that VHS tape. I'm sure if it exists somewhere, the tracking in the tape is worn down so bad. Um, but I remember when we were kids, we watched that one, and we just loved that he looked like a giant cockroach, and there was this crazy robot guy who looked like he's wearing underwear, and it was such a fun film, and that was our favorite as a kid. And then I remember around '98, I believe, is the Matthew Broderick Godzilla.
Hmm.
I was the perfect age when that one came out, so I loved that movie. And I remember having like the Slurpee cup lid where it had the American Godzilla on it, and I had a poster for it. And yeah, so I've always been a fan of Godzilla. Godzilla's super awesome, and you can't not like kaiju. You have Gamera and King Kong and all the other awesome ones. And then this new one, Godzilla King of the Monsters, is my first time getting to be in one, which is super cool.
Makes me happy to hear. Happy to hear that the franchise is in good hands.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's one of those things too where I'm a huge fanboy when it comes to many things. Like I'm a diehard Star Wars fan, diehard Planet of the Apes, lots of horror and sci-fi in my blood. And I know when new movies come out, especially in current day, it's very important to get things right for the fans because it means so much to people like you and all the other diehard Godzilla fans that have given so much time and money to the franchise. Because I know a lot of people, for whatever it be, Star Wars or Marvel things or Godzilla, whatever your thing is, those fans put so much money into all the comics, the video games, the toys, the t-shirts, everything. And it's more than just being a fan. It's part of the fan's life, and it's part of who they are. And it's such a bummer when something is done that makes you be like, man, I fucking hate that version, or I hate how they did this. And I think that was very important to me to make sure that I do my research on Ghidorah before I perform, to make sure that I do justice for what everybody wants, because I don't want it to be bad. I want it to be
Right.
good. So I watched when I first got the call from my agent, that I booked it. I went and I had the box set of Godzilla, but I know there was a few others that I didn't have with Ghidorah in it. But I went back and watched all the movies that had Ghidorah in it just so I could study every little nuance in the way he moves. And obviously, a suit with the heads being controlled by strings and stuff is very different than motion capture.
Right.
But there's still something to knowing how that character moves and carries himself that I bring to my performance and the decisions I make in all of my movement. And I felt that was very important. And I'm glad I did it because I think all the fans are just gonna love the movie, and everybody went nuts for the trailer at Comic-Con, and I truly think they're gonna go even more nuts when they see it because I've seen almost all 35 Godzilla movies, and this one takes the cake for sure.
That's great to hear. Makes me very
Yes,
happy.
I imagine. So what's your I guess history with Godzilla being such a huge fan and you do this podcast? You said your podcast is about more than just Godzilla, right?
Well, currently it's basically limited to just Godzilla and King Kong and everything kaiju. That's pretty much what my entire life is. And I'm one of those fans, that just puts so much time and money into this stuff because it's what makes me happy. So I'm
It's
very
important to you.
right, yeah. So I'm very happy and excited to hear that that the franchise is being worked on by people like you who are willing to go back and check out the originals and who have grown up with this stuff. It makes me very excited.
Good, thank you. Yeah, and it's one of those things too where I know the other heads of Ghidorah have lots of credits in history of doing very similar things. The center head was played by Jason Liles, who he played George in the new Rampage movie. So he has big monster experience as well. And Richard Dorton, who plays the left head, he is. If you've played a video game, you've probably killed him. He's the motion capture actor for almost every video, like big AAA video game that most people have played. And I think it's great because we all cared about it, and it's definitely you could tell when filming that everyone had their hearts in it. Mike, he's fantastic director, and as you could see from some of his interviews with at San Diego and probably other things that I haven't even seen, he's a big fan of Godzilla. He knows it. I think the way you would want the director of the movie to know it, and it's great. And he's so good. And I think all that heart from everybody just ups the ante for the whole film.
That's amazing. So going back to the other two actors who play Ghidorah, can you tell me a little bit about what that's like bringing to life one third of a character rather than the full thing?
Um, I can't say a lot at the current moment,
Right.
but I wouldn't say that I brought only one third of the character to life. We were a team, and I think you'll see that once the movie comes out. It was definitely a team effort, and I don't think we ever considered ourselves one third. I think we all considered ourselves we are Ghidorah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, we
Um,
definitely had a camaraderie with each other where all three of us would almost answer for each other for everything.
it's great. What was the filming process itself like? Michael Dougherty said in an interview that he had some sort of rig for you guys.
We used performance capture for King Ghidorah.
Really?
So I had 3 actors basically tied together, and each actor played a separate head.
What was that like?
I can't speak about that just yet at the current moment, other than what he had already said in the interview. But I guess yet to be determined. I
All
I
right.
know I know unfortunately a lot of the stuff that I get asked by a lot of people is a lot of I can't talk about kind of things because we're a long way from the movie being released.
Right. So then I guess you can't answer this one either. I'll ask it just in case. Michael Dougherty said that each head of Ghidorah would have their own personality and intelligence level. Can you describe your head without spoiling anything and what makes it different from the other two?
I cannot,
Okay, that's totally fine.
but it's awesome. And what he said, uh, yeah, you're gonna like it. It'll be cool.
Okay. So a lot of people were wondering, is it fun to work on these movies as a monster?
Oh, absolutely. It's all I do. I've played humans countless times, but I would say 90% of my jobs, I'm a creature, a monster, a demon, non-human character. And it really is my favorite thing to play. Um, just this week I'm filming another film that is a demon, and it's going to be awesome. And then on Friday I'm doing a commercial, which hopefully won't be out too long, but you'll see me as a monster in that, and it's just so cool because I get to bring on these extreme personalities of a lot of times menacing and vicious, and it's quite fun because you get to just go nuts, and it usually entails the most amount of blood and the coolest visuals. Every picture with me on a set is the best picture because it's not me. It's me covered with awesome prosthetics or a suit or something that looks really badass.
Going along with that, how do you get in character to play these monsters?
So it depends. I guess example one of them would be there's a film called The Raking where I play the rake, and for people who don't know, the rake is not a gardening tool. It is a new cryptozoology type character. I consider it kind of like a second generation type one. That I'm sure other people have different terms for it, but originally there was Sasquatch and Chupacabra and Jersey Devil and Nessie, and now there's the Rake, Slenderman, and all these new ones that were created. And the rake is kind of like Schmeagol with giant claws for fingers, I guess, is how I would describe it. And for that character, I had asked the director, I was like, what's this creature's motivation? Does he have any human intellect? And the director said no. He's pure animal, out for blood, out to kill. All he desires is to rip and gut humans apart. So when I get into character, I start thinking about what it's like when I'm eating a really rare burger or steak, and I just start getting into the thought of I'm gonna rip this person apart, and I'm almost like before the call action. A lot of times I'll be off camera, like bending my legs and like bouncing, almost ready to pounce and attack. And as soon as they call action, I go, and it's just um but then there's other moments where if it's a film like what's one where you have thought, I guess trying to think of a monster that has, I guess this commercial that's coming up that I'm filming. He's a demonic monster who wants to take over the world. He doesn't have desire to rip people to shreds. He has desire to dominate and be in charge. And he also has the thought of wanting to get pleasure out of eternal pain for other people. So it's almost like a Hellraiser type thing. And so what I do to prep for that one is I start thinking of, dictatorship, world domination, what it would be like to have all the power, and every peon in the world will have suffering and pain, and it will make me smile. And it's a very evil thought, but that's how I get into character, because even though they're both monsters and they're both not human, they're very different. One has only a thought of animalistic rage, and the other one has actual evil traits of domination and pain. And I think that brings a very different character, a different walk, a different voice, and that would be how I get into character. Each monster has a different motivation, just like a regular actor, just like a human actor, I suppose we could call it.
Right. So, uh, with that difference, can you tell me a little bit about what it's like, the difference between traditional acting and performance capture?
um, so the difference between motion capture and traditional acting, there really isn't any. Just like even when I play a creature with practical, where it's a suit or makeup, it's the same type of acting. it's got to be real. It has to feel genuine, and you listen, because the main thing for acting is taking in the other actors' emotions and the other actors, what's happening around you. You just have to listen and be in the moment. The only difference would be, I guess, the technical side of it. Motion capture has a number of different stuff. If you use a motion capture suit that uses the optical balls, where a camera reads the reflection of the dots, you can't cover the dots, or else the computer doesn't recognize where that part of your body is, and that can mess up the capture of your skeleton moving. So, example, if you have a scene where you're crossing your arms like a cool dude, and you have the dots on your arm, and you cover it, suddenly your arm disappears to the computer. So you have to fake it and cross your arms in a certain way that doesn't cover up any of the sensor and tracking. So you have to be aware of those things technically as a performer. But other than that, it's not very different. I think motion capture requires stronger imagination, without a doubt, because you're in a volume. You're not in a real set. You're not outside. You're just in an empty room, and you're playing with nothing, pretty much. And so it definitely involves more imagination for your surroundings, for the weather, for the temperature, for things around you, for the feel of what the floor is like, depending on if you're supposed to be in a swamp versus cement, and how you'd move that way. It takes a lot more preparation and thought into the performance, rather than if you're in a real acting setting, not in the motion capture volume. You're outside and okay, so the ground is mucky. I'm gonna stick a little when I walk, and you're gonna be swatting at flies that are coming near your neck, and those things you don't have to think about because it happens while you're there.
Right. I've got a couple more questions, and then
Cool.
so earlier you mentioned that you went back and watched all the movies with King Ghidorah for inspiration for this film. Was there any incarnation of Ghidorah in particular that stuck out to you as one that you wanted to work based on most?
Visually, I really enjoyed watching him in the Mothra trilogy, simply because it was shiny and new looking, and I really enjoyed that. But I think I have to go with, the classic Astro Monster. That was, it's just because it's, you could correct me if I'm wrong, that's the first time I see him, right?
He was in one before that, one in the year before that.
Which one was he in before that?
Ghidorah, the three-headed monster.
You are right. That's the one I'm thinking of. Wow, I'm gonna look like a fool
No,
on this
you just
one.
blew my mind. You blew my mind when you mentioned the Mothra trilogy. Most people don't even know Ghidorah's in that.
Oh, good. Yes, one for me. Yay. But yeah, in the three-headed monster one, it's because it's like when you see him for the first time, it's like, that's awesome. It's a three-headed goddamn dragon. That's fucking cool. And so that's what I would say is those two, the OG and then Mothra trilogy. I really like those two.
I don't know if you can answer this one either, but how long did it take to film Godzilla 2?
I cannot say that just yet.
Okay. All right. Hey guys, just had to cut in here really quick, let you all know that was only the first half of the interview. I'm about to get on out of here, head over to my dad's house now, so I don't have time to edit the second half of the interview. I hope you enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun. I had so much fun doing this. Thank you, Alan Maxson. It's a great time. So part 2 will be coming out on either Tuesday or Wednesday. And then I believe on Wednesday or Thursday, whichever day I get the second part up, it's the day after, I'll release the full thing as one video. It's a 40-something minute long interview. It may be a little bit more than that when I'm done editing. But as far as we're concerned right now, we're calling it here. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. Make sure to tune into part 2. D-Man, out.